Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jessica.
Today, we're here celebrating the Easter season of 2020.
Yes, it's still Easter.
It's still Easter. In fact, it's still well within Easter as we are still in the octave.
Mm-hmm.
And today, my notes told me that we were going to be talking about the one time Peter didn't stick his foot in his mouth.
Yes.
Oh, would you care to explain?
Sure. All right. Just like earlier, we talked about the foot race.
Yep, the foot race.
Of an Easter event that kind of gets, not really shuffled to the side, but you don't really pay attention to it because, well, Easter is much more important.
Easter is much more important. But anyways.
So today we're going to talk about the time in which Peter wasn't the one who said something stupid. Because Peter is notoriously known for saying something stupid.
Yeah, like there was that time when Jesus said that he was going to be crucified, and he said, no, that would never happen to you. And then Jesus was like, get behind me, Satan.
And there was the time in which Elijah and Moses, as a representative of the prophets and the law, appeared on the mount at the Transfiguration, and he said, "Let's go camping."
And there was the time when Jesus was washing feet, and he's like, "No, you shouldn't wash my feet." And Jesus said, "Well, if I don't wash your feet," and then he said, "Well, don't just wash my feet, wash everything."
Yes. For a major figure of the Bible who, at least for some things, probably told the person writing it, this is what I remember.
Peter was very exuberant. It's all right.
All right, but today we're going to go and discuss the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, starting at verse 1 and going through verse 12. Okay. This is a story that a lot of the other Gospels have in various different formats, but I just picked Luke.
So this is okay. So yep. All right.
So. But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they came to the tomb, taking the spices they had prepared, and found the stone rolled back from the tomb. But on entering, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. And it came to pass, when they were wondering what to make of this, that, behold, 2 men stood by them in dazzling clothes. And when the women were struck with fear and bowed their faces to the ground, they said to them, "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but risen. Remember how he spoke to you while he was yet in Galilee, saying that the Son of Man must be betrayed into the hands of sinful men to be crucified and on the third day raised." And they remembered his words. And having returned from the tomb, they reported these things to the 11, to all the rest. Now it was Mary Magdalene and Joanna and Mary the mother of James and the other woman who were there with them, where they were telling these things to the apostles. But this tale seemed to them to be nonsense, and they did not believe the woman. But Peter arose and ran to the tomb, and swooping down, he saw the linen cloths laid there, and he went away to wonder to himself what had come to pass.
So everybody else is like, "Oh, please, would you stop it?" And Peter's like, "I have to go see."
Yes. Now, I in part picked this version of it, because if you remember the last one where we did the foot race, in John's version, John was also there, and he was faster than Peter.
Yes.
So, along with pointing out that for once, Peter was the one person who got it. Also, it brings up an important point about reading the Bible with modern eyes.
Okay.
Well, as last time we discussed, Bibles cost a lot to make.
Yep.
Even one book would be like thousands of dollars for copying.
Yep.
Ancient writers had a lot different ideas on how one wrote something than modern people.
Okay.
I mean, you can even see this within things that are fairly recent in comparison.
Okay.
Like, if you've ever had to read Moby Dick, a fictional story about a man's quest to kill a whale, there's randomly in the middle a chapter about, here's a nonfiction chapter about all the different types of whales there are.
Right. Gotcha.
If you've read the first English female writer whose book we still know about, St. Julian of Norwich, when I read the book, I joked about, this is probably why there were so few female writers, because it's like 600 pages long. And she doesn't start with, it's, lots of visions and stuff. She doesn't start with, all right, this is the first vision I had, and go in chronological order. It kind of loops around and stuff, so that I think there's some parts of the books that she pretty much restated like 3 or 4 times.
Oh.
I mean, she has some very deep stuff. She's actually quoted in the Catechism. But if I was a modern editor, I'd be like, all right, I got to hack like a third of this stuff out. This is not the way things go.
Yep.
So
you had 20 visions here. Oh, no, I just had 6. Okay, so where's the other 14 coming from?
Yeah. So, while this one doesn't actually mention John, and other ones will say that, at first all the disciples were, not believing her. It's because each writer was not trying to do a, modern newspaper. This happened and this happened, but this happened.
Each writer was attempting to write a narrative retelling of the things that had happened. And in general, each writer was working towards their gospel being read by a certain community. So each one has, if you look at the way that they wrote it and the way that various communities would have read things, there's ones that were clearly catering towards Jewish communities, whereas there are ones that are clearly catering towards Greek communities and Roman communities.
Yes. So like other versions, most all of them make a note that Mary Magdalene was there because she was the key figure in the story. Even in this one, it's in the other women.
Yeah.
Because they weren't reporting the facts. They were like, here's the key points you need to know. The women saw the empty tomb. They ran to the apostles. The first time they're like, I don't believe you.
Mm-hmm. But Peter.
Yes. But Peter, at least two of the Gospels point out that Peter at least was not being his normal self and saying something stupid.
Like, go back to your women's stuff and stop making up silly nonsense stories.
Yes.
Which is probably not what they said, but it certainly doesn't sound like they were saying anything that was much nicer.
Well, again, they spent 3 years of Jesus explaining this was going to happen, and they still didn't get it. So I mean, even the women were there to prepare his body. That's why they brought spices, because quick burial right away. Couldn't do all the fancy stuff.
Yes, no, they at the time, all they really had time for was to wrap him in a new single piece of linen and lay him in the tomb.
Yes.
All right. So, is there anything else you would like to say on Paul and his Peter and his amazingly being forthright in his behavior and such?
No. I thought I'd do things about stuff for the Easter stories that you've probably heard this.
That's fair.
Many, many times. But you were too busy with the important fact that the tomb was empty.
True. So anyways, go down below, hit the like button, and as I've recently been chastised about it, I won't go on about how you need to go and do that. Just, know that it's a nice thing to do.
Yep. Hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it because it's VEASTER and we're going to have another episode tomorrow.
And go down below and leave us a comment.
Perhaps you could comment on what's your favorite quote from St. Peter. Is it a time when he said something really stupid and didn't read the room? Or was it some time when he said something absolutely brilliant?
Jesus, you have to save us or we're all going to die when the boat sinks.
Listen, even though they were fishermen, most people didn't know how to swim back then.
It's fair. Anyways, until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.